So we're going to do the same thing again. We're going to have 5x squared minus 17x plus 6. So I'm going to make an x. And what goes on the top of the x? What time? Nope. A times C. What's A? 5. And C is 6. So 5 times 6 is 30. And what goes down at the bottom?
17 minus.
Negative 17. So since the 30 is a positive and the 17 is a negative, both of these are going to be a what? Negative. So I need the factors of 30 that add to 17. Now, here's a hint.
2.
It's 15 and 2, but I want to show you guys something. What are the factors of 5? 1 and 5, yes? What are the factors of 6? 2 and 3? Okay, so you have these 3 factors that you can move around and multiply by each other any way you want. Does that make sense? So I have, you guys already said it, 15 and 2. Does that add to 17? Okay, right now you don't really need it, but when we get to big, huge numbers, guys, I don't even multiply them out on the top. I just write their factors on the side because I don't want to multiply them out. So I'm going to have 15 and 2. And it's the same thing I did before. So 5x squared minus 15x minus 2x plus 6. Group the first 2. What do they have in common? 5x. So I have x minus 3. Now what do the second 2 have in common? What has to come with it? The negative 2. And what am I left with? X minus 3. So did I do it right so far? How do I know?
You just do.
No. If these 2 quantities don't match, you can't keep going. Okay, so they match, so I can factor out an x minus 3. And I'm left with what?
X minus 3.
No.
5x.
5x minus 2. And then I'm going to set both of these equal to what? 0. So on the left, I would add 3. So it's 3. On the right, I would add 2 and have 5x equals 2. And then I have to do what? Divide by 5. So it's 3 and 2/5. Ready? Okay, 3x squared plus 20x minus 7. First of all, I should look and see if they have anything in common, shouldn't I? Does 3, 20, and 7 have anything in common? No, but all of them. No. So if I had 6x squared plus 40x minus 14, do they all have something in common?
2.
A 2. So I would factor out the 2. And look what I would have.
Wouldn't it be 3x?
Oh, yes, it'd be 3. Don't I have the same thing?
Yeah.
Okay, so this 2 is called a scalar, and we already figured out when I put 2 equal to 0, that's not a solution, is it? So does it actually change the equation at all? No. Okay, so what do I do first? Factor something out if I can. Can't do that. Then next,
Big X.
a big X. What goes on top of the big X?
Negative.
Negative 21. How did you get negative 21?
3X times negative 7.
You took 3 times negative 7. What goes on the bottom?
20.
20. Okay, so since the 21 is negative, that means I'm going to subtract, correct? And the bigger factor is going to be whatever is down here, so the bigger factor is going to be what? Positive. So I put a plus minus, but it really doesn't matter, but it helps me remember that the bigger one is positive, okay? So then, what are the factors of 21 that have a difference of 20? 21 and 1. So you guys plug it in, back in, and finish. Try to finish on your own. Did you get it right, Henry?
How are you getting a positive 1?
It's right there. Because 1 is the only thing that X...
It'd be negative 1 though.
No, because the 1 is positive. Oh, I switched these. Sorry.
I'm over here.
Sorry. So this would be a negative, and this would be a positive, right?
Yep.
Positive, and this would be a negative. Okay. I had them switched around up top, didn't I? Okay. Did you guys get 3x minus 1 and x plus 7?
Yes.
What'd you do? Okay. Did you get this? Okay. So you take these two first. What do they have in common? No. 3x squared plus 21x. They don't have 7 in common. They have 3x. So you factor out 3x, and you're left with x plus 7. Okay, and then you take these two. Whatever this sign is has to come, so minus. And the only thing 1x and 7 have in common are 1, right? So net factor out a negative 1, so it just makes it x plus 7. So these two are the same, so we factor them out again. And I'm left with 3x minus 1. Okay, so now I set them both equal to 0, and the right-hand side is easy. Subtract 7, it's negative 7, yes? Okay, on the left-hand side, we have to add 1. So I have 1 equals 3x, and divide by 3, so it is 1/3. So when a is a number, am I probably going to have one of these as a fraction?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. So I have 9x squared minus 64. What do you guys notice?
There's no angle.
There's no x in the middle, is there?
No B.
So b is
0.
0. So I can do this. Yes?
Yes.
Guys, remember when we talked about difference of squares the other day? No? Okay, no? Okay. Is 9 a perfect square? Is x squared a perfect square? Is 64 a perfect square? Yes. So after we do this long way, I'm going to show you a rule that will help you, and you probably should learn it. Okay, so on top goes 9 times 64, yes?
Yes.
So that would be 6, carry a 3, so 7, so 576. You all know that factors of 576, right?
It'd be negative.
Minus.
It would be minus, yes. But you all know those factors, right? No, you don't. Okay, so this is what I remember I said when this number gets big, I usually don't even multiply it out. 9 is 3 times 3, correct?
Yes.
Okay, 64 is 8 times 8.
Yes.
Could 8 be broken down to 2 times 2 times 2? And the other 8 could be 2 times 2 times 2. Yes? So I have all these to play with to get 0. Well, if I want something to be 0, don't I have to have a positive and a negative? Because it's negative up here. So that means one's positive, one's negative, right?
Yeah.
And the only way it's going to be 0 is if those two numbers are the same, correct? So that means I would group a 3 and 3 2s and a 3 and 3 2s, wouldn't it? Okay. Well, 3 2s is 8. 2 times 2 times 2 is 8, correct? Times 3 is what? 24.
I said that.
You said negative 4.
Oh.
It didn't sound like it. So, 24. And if you remembered anything from geometry, you should have remembered that 24 squared is 576. Shucks. So now I put these in, right? So 9x squared minus 24x plus 24x minus 64. So what factors out of 9x squared minus 24?
3.
3x. So that gives me 3x minus 8. Whatever this sign is. What factors out of 24x minus 64?
2.
Bigger.
Why'd you
8.
8. What?
put the negative on the left side?
Oh, I just did. It doesn't matter. Sorry. 8 goes into both 24 and 64, yes? And what am I left with? 3x minus 8. So I get 3x minus 8 and 3x. What?
Plus 8.
Plus 8. Oh, I spelled it wrong. Okay. Up here, if you should have noticed, this is the difference, yes? Subtraction. Are they both perfect squares? Difference of squares. So, what's the square root of 9x squared? 3x. and 3x. What's the square root of 64?
8.
8 and 8. One's plus and one's minus. Isn't that what we got? So if you would have identified that, could you save yourself a lot of time?
Yeah.
Yes. Okay, so we're going to use the rule 16x squared minus 1.
4.
Excuse me, is Cody Colson in class today?
No, he is not. I
Thank
didn't.
you.
I'm sorry. Okay. 4, so they're both squares and I have the difference, yes? It does not work on the sum, okay? So what's the square root of 16x squared? 4x. So 4x on both of them. One's plus, one's minus. Does it matter if I put minus plus?
No.
Nope. What is the square root of 1?
1. Oh, it'd be negative. What?
1 plus 1 minus 1. 1's plus 1 minus. Oh, I didn't solve these. We need to set them to equal.
Yeah.
So we would add 1 and subtract 1, right? And divide by 4. So we get plus or minus 1/4. You would add 1 and divide by 4. And over here you would subtract 1 and divide by 4.
0.
So you get, or you can write it as 1/4, a negative 1/4 and 1/4. It doesn't matter. It's the same thing. Okay, try one on your own. 36 n squared minus 9. Is it difference? Are they perfect squares? The answer is yes.
Perfect.
They are perfect, right? So just do your difference of squares, your conjugate pairs. So you should have
Minus 2.
6n minus 3
6n plus 3.
and 6n plus 3. But if I don't see that, can I do it the long way? Yep. Hmm?
1 half.
Oh, yes, the answer would be plus or minus 1/2, wouldn't it?
Yes.
Could I also, guys, could I have also factored out a 3 here? And I would have had, what, 12? Actually, how about a 9? How about a 9, not a 3? If I factored out a 9, would I have not had 4n squared minus 1? And that would have factored to 9 times 2n minus 1 and 2n plus 1. And what would the answers have here been? Plus or minus what? 1/2 again? Because here we had to add and subtract 3 and divide by 6. Here we already took that 9 out, didn't we? Okay. Couple more and then I'm going to let you guys go. I just want to make sure you get enough examples. So 5x squared minus 45 equals 5. Oh, sorry. Oh, equals 0. Sorry. So 5x squared minus 45 equals 0. I only have two terms, yes? Yeah. Oh. What do those two terms have something in common?
5.
5. So should I factor it out?
Yes.
Yeah. So I have 5, and what am I left with?
X minus 7.
X squared minus 9. And I have to completely factor. Can I factor x squared minus 9? Is 9 a perfect square?
Yes.
Yes. Is x squared a perfect square? Yes. So what's the square root of x squared?
1.
Well, 1x. Okay.
3. Plus 3 minus 3.
Plus 3 minus 3 or minus 3 plus 3, does it matter?
Nope.
No. So in this case, x would equal positive and negative 3. Because you set them equal to 0. And does this 5 equal 0 without a variable? No. What if I had 5x equals 0? Can that happen? Yeah. So I could divide by 5 and I would get what? 0?
Yes.
So this doesn't work because there's no variable. Six q squared minus 14q plus 8 equals 0. What do you notice? They all have a 2 in common. Guys, when I factor out a 2, does it make my numbers smaller that I have to multiply later?
Yes.
Yeah. So we want to look for those, don't we? So if I factor out a 2, I have what?
3q to the second minus 7q plus 4 plus 0.
And remember, you don't do anything with this until you put it back on at the end. So don't do anything with it. Okay? So, make my x. What goes on top? Nope.
12.
12, because it's 3 times 4. What goes on bottom?
Negative 7.
Negative 7. So 12 is positive.
3.
So it's going to be negative and
Negative.
negative. And what factors of 12 add to 7?
4 and 3.
4 and 3. On this one, I am going to move the 3 to the 3 just so my brain likes it. And I don't know why I put a parenthesis. So 3q squared minus 3q minus 4q plus 4. And then I can factor out a 3q. And I can factor out a negative 4. So my 2 has to come back in front. And q minus 1 times 3q minus 4. So when I factor something out before I start, do I do it any differently? No. So what's q going to equal? This one I would just add 1 over, right? So q would equal 1. What about the 3q plus 4, or equals 4? Maybe 3q equals 4, right? And divide by 3, so I get q equals 4/3. Shaylee, has this helped today? Because it's the same thing we did yesterday. It's harder numbers today, so if you get it today, yesterday should be easy. Okay, questions, guys? Do you think you need any more? No? Okay. So the rest of the time is work time. Remember, when the bell rings, you stay put because they're testing. Yep. So